Welcome back. Now, the business of foreign exchange has been growing strength to strength in recent years. The Forex firms have disrupted South Africa's foreign exchange industry, created a competitive landscape for traditional banking systems. Business writer for Business Day, Mudiwa Gavaza, joins us now for analysis on the role of a Forex firm like Future Forex and how its model compares to that of traditional banks. Mudiwa, always a pleasure. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Alexander.
So when we speak of Forex trading and moving money abroad,
Yes.
for many people it just sounds
Dodgy.
It just sounds like scam. But of course, it's not what we're speaking about today. Help us understand exactly what Future Forex does and why their business is actually credible.
Okay. So this is not a Forex trading firm, in the context that you think about, the Instagram influencers, that have made millions from FX trading. No, this is basically a firm that helps to settle, international payments on behalf of businesses. And then the businesses that they are primarily targeting are businesses that are doing between, if I remember correctly, the threshold is 5 million to 100 million rand, per year, because they actually identify to say that that is the segment that is sending a lot of money, but is not getting the best service from the formal banks. Believe it or not, someone's sending 100 million rand.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one of the interesting things here is the fact that, of course, then a Future Forex does pride itself in the fact that they do offer a better service than the bank, that they cheapen the banks. And I think it's an interesting one. Fintechs are often able to, play in places where banks can't play.
Yep.
Help us understand exactly how they achieve that competitive advantage.
So it's a couple of things. So on the, I'm just going to call it time and admin factor. They promise to have, faster onboarding processes, that type of thing. Anyone who's received just in their personal capacity, it's happened to me 1 or 2 times where just accepting an international payment, you have to fill out forms and all of that stuff. If you go to a bank right now and you have foreign currency in your hand and you want to exchange it, right? You must prove, where did you get this money? When last were you on an aeroplane? All of this stuff that you need, all these checks and balances. So when it comes to businesses, right, you can think about the mountains of admin that they have to go through. And it's usually a manual process. There's a lot of forms to fill in. That's the first piece, that they're talking about competitive advantage. The other piece is around fees, because there's 2 types of fees when it comes to settling money across borders. First is what's your traditional fees that a bank is going to be charging you, either to settle the money, all of that stuff. And it honestly doesn't seem like that much, right? But Future Forex will then say that the spread that the banks are enjoying is a second fee, and that's where they see themselves as offering a a cheaper alternative, because the spread is basically, if right now the rand is trading at 19 to the US dollar, right? If you go to a bank and you want to make a US dollar payment, the bank might offer you to say, okay, fine, we can settle your payment across in the United States or wherever you're making the payment, but we're going to give you a rate of 1950. That 50 cents difference is what we call the spread, and that's where a lot of banks are making money. It doesn't seem like a lot of money if, let's say, you're sending 1,000 rand, but if you're sending 100, let's say 100 million rand, that little 50 cents becomes a huge chunk of change that the bank gets to enjoy, because they're settling at 1950, but they are enjoying probably closer to 1910 or 19, in terms of how their access, to the market. So that spread. So companies like Future Forex are saying that we're offering, a smaller spread, and in certain cases even saying, okay, fine, we'll just take a fixed, something that's fixed for certain types of transactions. So all of those little things to say that we are doing this better than, what some of the banks can offer.
Being able to counter the banks also, I mean, it does take you being maybe administratively light, but also keen to get your input then on what happens with automation and then people contact, because of course that's nothing that matters, Mudiwa, especially if I'm going to come out of my banking ecosystem to employ a whole new company to do something for me. There really have to be sweeteners there, and of course price, and that really matters. But I think relationship matter, maybe tech matters. How is Future Forex maneuvering through that one?
Well, the onboarding process, that's one of the places that they say that they're doing, a measure of automation just to make that process faster, so that you can get up and running a bit quicker. Second piece is the fact that they actually say, one of the most interesting thing with our conversation with Future Forex, they actually said that the reason they target people in this bracket is because people that are sending above the 100 million or so threshold get really great service, dedicated teams and that type of thing from the banks. And they're trying to say, okay, fine, that level of service we're trying to offer it, at even what's seen as the smaller amounts, that 5 to 100 million rand. So they're promising relationship, account managers, all of that stuff. And the fact that if you call them, you're actually dealing with someone who actually understands FX, as opposed to calling a bank. You get to the call center, and then you're sort of parceled along the chain, in the bank with various people that might not even understand what you're talking about. And it's like, hey, okay, I think the right person is this person, until you get to wherever you want. So just trying to shorten all of those processes is basically, at the end of the day, it's an efficiency game, and that's how they seem to be making their money. Just making the money on those small efficiencies, smaller spreads, smaller fees, and that's where they're winning.
Wonderful. It's an interesting story about innovation, not having to be, overly disruptive to be disruptive. Mudiwa, thank you for your time. It's always a pleasure having you. That was Mudiwa Gavaza. He's a business day writer at Business Day.